Okay, welcome to another DG beer review, and this is going to be our first review from Brew Dog Brewery, which is out of Ellon, Scotland. Kind of weird because it's an American IPA. It's called Elvis Juice. I guess the Scottish folks wanted to say, hey, this is an American IPA. How much more American can you get than calling it Elvis? So it's a 6.5% ABV IPA. Very interesting story behind this brewery. My first review, by the way, from this particular brewery. So it was founded way back in 2007. Kind of weird to say way back. It's 14 years ago. But it was founded by a duo known as James Watt and Martin Dickey. Today they own less than half of the company. It's actually 1/4 owned by the public, members of the public, and also a group called TSG Consumer Partners. They make up most of the ownership of this brewery. Also, other board members as well are part owners. So, as I mentioned, it was founded in 2007 by James and Martin. And then it skyrocketed a couple years later. They purchased a bar in Aberdeen, Scotland. Then it just skyrocketed after that. So in 2011, there were new beer measures that were allowed in Britain. And Brew Dog took advantage of that and I guess, brewed some crazy beers. And we'll get into that in just a bit. So it's made its home in Ellon since 2012, and how about this? In February of 2016, BrewDog actually open sourced its beers to the public. So basically, its recipes you can follow exactly. If you're a beer brewer, you could say, I want to, instead of trying to clone BrewDog's Elvis juice, for example, you can actually get the entire real recipe and not only clone it, but create BrewDog if you're, good at brewing beer, I guess, which I'm not. I like to buy the beer and let other people do it. So it kind of skyrocketed since then. In January of 2020, they actually opened an alcohol-free bar in London. They took advantage of the alcohol-free beer craze that's really going on everywhere right now. Is it a craze? Is it going to go away? I think it will. I mean, people want their booze when all is said and done at some point. During the pandemic, they shifted their distillery production towards making hand sanitizer. So, good cause right there. Not without its controversy. They've been accused of aggressive marketing. This was back in 2008, risking having its products withdrawn from British shops. They've denied it and countered that the Portman Group, which was the industry watchdog, was impeding the development of smaller brewing companies. So take it as you will. But they took advantage of those laws, as I mentioned before, and they brewed a beer called Tokyo that had 18.2% ABV. 18.2% ABV. Then they decided to brew a beer called Tactical Nuclear Penguin, which clocked in at 32% ABV. At some point, I've never had these beers, but at some point they got to cease being beer and start being liquor, right? They didn't stop there. They also brewed Sink the Bismarck in 2010, which came in at 41% ABV. And then, to top it all off, a 55% ABV beer that was freeze distilled called The End of History was made. This is the end of beer production, in my opinion. Actually, no, that's not it. Because they brewed a beer called Schorschbach 57 with the ABV of 57.5. Keep in mind, like vodka, like straight vodka is like 80% ABV on average, usually. So 2014, Portman kind of went at them again, calling BrewDog a group that encouraged both antisocial behavior and rapid drinking. Okay. Interesting. They went on and apparently in May of 2019, BrewDog was accused of stealing marketing concepts. In June of 2021, a group of 100 former employees at BrewDog published an open letter criticizing the firm's business practices and its treatment of its employees. So They called it a culture of fear and claimed the company was built on a cult of personality, with founder and CEO Watt singled out for particular criticism. So, really kind of a controversial brewing company. You don't really see this very often. These brewing companies that are, under close scrutiny and close fire like this. I do remember back in 2013 there was a TV show that James and Martin both hosted that I kind of get into a little bit. It was called Brew Dog. It was just called Brew Dog. I forget the name of it. But it was on the Esquire network, which was a short-lived network. It lasted 3 seasons, and what they would do is they would go out to different established breweries, especially in the USA. So, for example, I think they went to Anchorstein Brewery out in San Francisco. They may have went to Stone Brewery in San Diego, and I think they went to like Yards Brewery in Philadelphia, and they would do a collaboration, a concoction of beer. So they won a lot of awards as well. I won't get into that right now, but let's get into Brew Dog Elvis juice and see if Elvis truly is still alive with this beer. So as we pour this IPA, by the way, grapefruit infused IPA. I mean, come on, a lot of IPAs are grapefruit infused. Why are you advertising that? But whatever. You can see like a kind of a darker, like more of a amberish color pour. So it's not really a lighter IPA. It's got a nice frothy head, about 2 fingers, I would say. Let's see how much grapefruit we get in this aroma-wise. Wow, okay. All right, I will say this. This is very pungent. Very tropical. I love this smell, really, wow. Very fruity. A really crisp grapefruit smell. I'm kind of knocked away by it. Wasn't expecting it. Let's get at the taste now. Effervescent and very different. A very different tasting IPA. Not getting that too much of a dank grapefruit smell or taste. I'm getting more of a tropically grapefruit. Really a well done beer. So at 6.5%, it's not that boozy. It's a drinkable IPA, not quite a sessional IPA, but really, really good. I feel like I'm whisked away to the tropics, and I didn't really think I would be with this beer. One of the better IPAs I've ever tasted as far as grapefruit infusion goes. So I kind of gave it the bum's rush right off the bat, thinking, come on, every IPA is grapefruit infused to an extent, right? This one's really, really well done. So I'm going to go ahead and give it 10 out of 10. I think this is an excellent IPA. When you talk about a representation of the style and doing what it tells you that it's doing, it really knocks it out of the park. And I think I kind of want to hate this brewery based on all the controversy and, the I don't know, there's something off-putting about the personalities of James Watt and Martin Dickey from that TV show that I watched. I don't know what it was. They just didn't seem quite to the, I don't know, sincere, I guess is the word. Not kind of guys that I would want to talk to. But the beer they produce here, very well done, I will say that. So 10 out of 10 for Brew Dog Elvis juice.